The story is set in a quiet, peaceful small town. It begins by introducing a man named Jed, who is watching his younger brother Matt play in a baseball game. Matt ends up losing after facing an opposing team that plays aggressively and throws a few subtle jabs along the way. After the game, Matt is given a ride home by his girlfriend Erica. Jed heads home earlier and waits there, where we are also introduced to their father, a local police officer. The relationship between Jed and Matt has been strained ever since their mother passed away years earlier, at a time when Jed was still overseas. Jed is a U.S. soldier who is currently back home on a short leave. The next morning, Jed and Matt are jolted awake by a sudden vibration, followed by loud noises outside. Explosions begin to erupt, and the sky fills with military aircraft as paratroopers descend into the area. No one knows who they are or what is really happening. Jed and Matt rush through the chaos as hundreds of soldiers flood their small town. In an instant, the peaceful streets turn into a battlefield, with explosions breaking out everywhere. In seconds, their world is at war. This is Red Dawn. Before long, the brothers run into their father, who is carrying out his duty to protect civilians. With the situation still unclear and growing more dangerous by the minute, he tells Jed and Matt to leave and find a safe place, warning them that things are only going to get worse. Instead of heading to safety, Matt insists that they first go look for Erica, believing she may be in danger. And he is right. Erica is being surrounded by soldiers who are revealed to be part of the North Korean military. Although they fail to rescue her, Jed and Matt manage to save two of Matt's classmates, along with two more who follow behind in another vehicle. A high-speed chase breaks out between Jed and a North Korean captain, ending in a crash that allows them to escape. The group heads up into the hills, believing it is the safest option. They arrive at a cabin owned by one of their friends, hidden deep in the forest. With no better alternative, they decide to stay there while waiting for any information about what is really going on. To be safe, Jed hands each of the teenagers a firearm. Later that night, they are startled by a vehicle approaching the cabin. Without waiting for instructions, a boy named Pete fires a shot that nearly hits Jed in the head. Jed immediately disarms him, which leaves Pete visibly upset. The vehicle turns out to belong to Annie, Erica's older sister. Erica herself, however, has been captured by North Korean forces, and no one knows what has happened to her since. By the next morning, trouble hits again. Everyone wakes up to find that all of their food supplies are gone. Pete and one of his friends stole everything and disappeared without a trace. With no time to dwell on it, Jed and Matt head out to see what is happening in town. What they discover is alarming. Nearly the entire area is now under the control of North Korean forces. As they make their way back, the others rush to warn them that the captain and his soldiers have taken over the cabin. From the bushes, Jed and the group watch closely, trying to figure out the enemy's next move. Realizing they are being watched, the captain decides to draw them out by bringing in the town's mayor. The mayor's son, Daryl, happens to be one of Matt's friends who is hiding with them. The mayor introduces the North Korean commander, Captain Cho, and urges the group to come out peacefully to avoid further bloodshed. Moments later, Jed and Matt's father is also brought forward and allowed to speak through a loudspeaker. Unlike the mayor, he tells his sons to stay hidden and prepare themselves to fight. He warns them that the situation will only get worse and that American soil may soon fall completely under North Korean control. Right in front of Jed's eyes, Captain Cho executes him, while Jed struggles to keep Matt quiet so they are not discovered. Once the soldiers leave, the cabin is no longer safe. Jed knows they cannot stay there any longer, so he decides to move the group to a new location that offers better protection. Honoring his father's final words, Jed commits himself to defending his country, no matter the cost. Drawing on his experience as a battle-tested soldier, he begins training the teenagers to use firearms and hardening them mentally for real combat. The North Korean invasion is not about wiping out civilians, but about taking control. Those who cooperate are spared. What Jed and the teens are doing, however, is open resistance. They become a small but determined guerrilla force, fighting to take back their homeland. After several days of training in the forest, Matt and the other teenagers begin to look ready for real combat. Their shooting is still rough, and they clearly need better and more accurate weapons. That leaves them with only one option, heading back into the city to take arms from the Korean troops. They use Annie as bait, drawing a small group of soldiers into an isolated area. Waiting in ambush, Jed and the others strike fast and take them down. For most of the teens, it is the first time they have ever killed anyone. but Jed manages to keep them calm and focused. The mission is a success. Along with the weapons, they also recover C4 explosives that can be detonated remotely. The group retreats back into the forest to plan their next move. While waiting for the right moment, Jed continues training Matt to improve his aim, using hunting as target practice. To ease the tension, Jed plays a small prank on Matt's friend Robert, claiming that soldiers drink deer blood when they are desperate for water. Instead of fear, it ends in laughter, briefly lightening the mood. Sleeping inside an abandoned tunnel, Matt struggles to rest, his thoughts constantly returning to Erica, who is still missing. Even in the middle of chaos, his loyalty to her never wavers. She remains the person he cares about most. The next day, the group launches another attack. Robert rides in with a skateboard rigged with C4, and the explosion sends a clear message. The news quickly reaches Captain Cho. Not long after, another massive blast goes off. Jed has already planted explosives at Cho's headquarters. The attacks do not stop there. Jed targets another base, one occupied by Pete and his friend, who have fully sided with the invaders. This time, there is no mercy, and the location is destroyed. Soon after, Robert and Daryl accidentally wander into a cafe that is still operating, filled with civilians who have chosen to cooperate with the North Koreans. They seize the chance to grab food and sprint back to the forest as fast as they can. Back at camp, Matt tells Jed that he has been scouting the area and learned that a major speech is scheduled for the next day at exactly 2 p.m. The North Koreans plan to publicly declare their control. That is not what matters most to Matt, though. He intends to disguise himself as a civilian so he can search for Erica again without thinking about the safety of the team. What shocks Jed even more is Matt's confession that he cares more about Erica than his own brother, a revelation that only fuels Jed's growing anger. The next day, as the event gets underway, Jed and the others are already in position inside a building close to the stage. Instead of launching an immediate attack, Daryl hesitates when he spots his father sitting among the North Korean officials. At the same time, Matt accidentally sees Erica inside a bus. In an instant, Jed's carefully prepared plan falls apart, and their presence is exposed. As chaos breaks out, one of the toughest teens in the group is killed while trying to reach Matt, who is with Erica on the bus. Because of Matt's actions, a valuable life is lost and the entire operation collapses. Jed and the others manage to escape, but Matt and Erica are still on the run, dodging pursuing soldiers as gunfire rains down around them. They narrowly survive and manage to slip into a clothing store, where changing their appearance allows them to finally get away. After Matt succeeds in rescuing Erica, Jed and the remaining members stay focused on the resistance, continuing their attacks on Korean forces occupying other areas. Word of these strikes reaches Captain Cho once again. He begins to realize that Jed and his group are a serious threat that cannot be ignored. While Jed stays committed to the mission, Matt once again disappears. Instead of fighting, he spends 3 days hiding out with Erica without contacting the group. This deeply worries Jed. If Matt or Erica are captured, they could expose everything the team has built. That night, as Jed and Annie are alone together, Korean forces launch a sudden attack. The secret tunnel collapses, killing 2 people in the process. With no time left, Jed and the others are forced to abandon the location before the enemy arrives. Later, while resting in the forest, the group is approached by 3 American soldiers who are also part of the resistance, led by a sergeant. He explains how everything unraveled. After NATO was dissolved, the United States was left without allies, allowing North Korea to move quickly with its invasion. In simple terms, a third world war may already be unfolding, and no one knows what comes next. The only solid lead is a secret communication device used by the Korean forces to coordinate their operations. If that device can be stolen, it could reveal their future plans. Without wasting time, Jed and the group head to the police station, now serving as Captain Cho's main headquarters. With help from the sergeant and his 2 soldiers, they manage to get inside and search for the device. They are eventually discovered, triggering a fierce firefight. During the chaos, Jed gets a direct chance to confront Captain Cho and kills him when the opportunity presents itself.
You fucked with the wrong family.
With his revenge fulfilled and the communication device secured, the group moves to another building that seems safer. In a rare moment of peace, Jed and Matt finally reconcile after years of tension. Then, without warning, Jed is shot. No one knows how the Korean forces discovered their location. The wound is fatal, and Jed dies, forcing the others to flee immediately before they are all captured. Once they are far from the city, Robert suddenly pulls the car over, worried about the possibility of a tracking device. He remembers that Daryl was shot earlier but never showed signs of pain. When they check his abdomen, they discover a small tracking implant embedded in his body. Understanding the danger, Daryl calmly tells the others to leave him behind. He does not want to become a liability like Erica or Matt, someone whose capture could put everyone else at risk. With no other choice, Daryl stays behind, likely surrendering himself to protect the group. The survivors eventually reach their destination, the location where the sergeant's helicopter is parked. The sergeant plans to fly out to gather more resistance forces and offers to take Matt and the others with him. Matt refuses. He chooses to stay in his hometown until it is fully reclaimed. It does not take long for Matt, Erica, Annie, and Robert to recruit new members. Matt delivers a powerful speech that ignites a sense of nationalism and unity, leading them in an attack on a North Korean base to take back their city. What happens next is left unseen, as the film comes to an end. At the moment Matt frees the captured hostages, it is clear that they will likely join his cause, standing together to drive the invaders out of their small town. So the moral of the story is never skip teamwork training, never steal the group's food, and definitely do not prioritize your love life when your brother is running a full-scale guerrilla war in the woods.